Here we go. Focus. Speed. I am speed. 1 winner. 42 losers. I eat losers for breakfast.
Cars is cool. I will die on that hill. It was the peak of childhood. From McQueen himself to whatever the f*** those modded cars were at the start. The film is just incredible. Seriously though, what the actual f*** is that? How is that practical?
That's quite big.
And while we're at it, the original game was also incredible. I had so much fun playing that when I was a kid, and even replaying it a couple of years ago during lockdown. It's just a fun game. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect by any sense of the imagination, but it's so fun and it captures the film so well.
I'm so old now.
The game we're looking at today, however, does not do that so well.
Time to show them what a precision instrument of speed and aerodynamics can do.
Welcome to Cars Race-O-Rama, a game released in late 2009, developed by Incinerator Studios and published by THQ. This game launched on PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, Wii, Nintendo DS, and PSP. It was kind of common practice to release these kind of games on the previous gen as well, just to get as much money as humanly possible, but the previous generation versions were just always so much worse, so the version you're looking at currently is the PS3 version. My first ever experience with this game was on the Nintendo Wii, and my god, it nearly put me off for life, but we'll get to that later. Incinerator Studios had worked with the Cars franchise before. They had worked on the Wii versions of both the original Cars game and Cars Meta National Championship. They've also developed one MX vs ATV game, and other than that, that's kind of it. Their last actual developed game launched in 2011, and the company has been defunct since 2017, which, based off this game, I'm not surprised.
You know, that's not how we do things around here. Who taught you to race like that? Kachika! 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 Chick Hicks.
That's right. Me and some of my friends are here to win the Race-O-Rama series and shut down your pathetic Doc Hudson Racing Academy.
Okay, so the story essentially pits Lightning McQueen and his racing academy against Chick Hicks creating his own evil racing academy full of cheating racers. Ooh. Now this is the first thing I want to talk about and get it out of the way, is the voice acting, and some of the dialogue in this game is just like, I don't know if it was intentionally this like cursed, but it is, so I'm gonna have to show you. Oh yeah, and you see that Porsche looking car there in pink? That's not just Sally in pink, that's an entirely different character called Candice.
He's trying to call Candace.
He's trying to call Candace! My Candace is big!
Just take a look at this.
No. Daddy promised that I'd never lose. I'm calling him right now. Daddy, I want new tires, new paint, new everything. And I want it now!
Whatever you want, sweetie. I'll make the usual arrangements.
Thank you, Daddy. Now I've got some shopping to do. You know how buying always makes my hurt go away. Out of my way, you parasites. Daddy just opened a slew of platinum accounts on Romeo Drive, and I plan on maxing out every one.
Now, the voice of Candice in this game is actually Tara Strong, who is known for a lot of things. Now, if you're about my age, you'll know her as the voice of Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents. If you're a big MCU fan, you might know her as the voice of Miss Minutes in the Loki series, or if you're a fan of the Batman Arkham series, then she's the voice of Harley Quinn. However, that barely scratches the surface of all the work that she's done. She's been in shows like Family Guy, Pokemon, she's been in video games from Tony Hawk's to Metal Gear Solid, to just all sorts of stuff. Very versatile, very cool. Another new character in this game is called El Machismo, another character on Chick Hicks' team. He's a big 4x4 that you race in a dirt track later on in the game, and he, while sounding a bit like Muscle Man,
I'm gonna shake your shocks, bend your rims. Oh no, bro.
Is actually voiced by the late WWE star Randy Savage. In fact, in all fairness, there's quite a good voice cast in this game. It's just a shame that Owen Wilson is not in it, because you can really tell the difference between Owen Wilson Lightning McQueen and non-Owen Wilson Lightning McQueen. Larry the Cable Guy obviously comes back to voice Mater because, let's face it, what else does that guy have going on? And interestingly enough, Michael Keaton actually voices Chick Hicks in this like he did in the first film. I wonder what the studio had on him to make him do this, because Michael, honestly, you're so much better than this. And John Goodman, the voice of Sully in Monsters Inc., voices the Sully truck in the game as well, so there we go. It's just a shame that the actual dialogue is just kind of ass. But like, it's okay, it's obviously a kid's game at the end of the day, so I can't really sit here and criticize it forever. Okay, so I'm just going to get the positives out the way before I start moaning on and on. Now, the game looks pretty good, don't get me wrong, that's mainly because I've upscaled this, playing it the way I have, but the PS3 and 360 versions looked alright for the time. The on-tarmac racing, for the most part, feels pretty good, but honestly, the main selling feature of this game for a lot of people was the customization. And you best believe I made Lightning McQueen look as cursed as possible, because there's just something really unsettling about Lightning not looking like Lightning.
I don't like the way my skin feels on my body. Do you like the way your skin feels on your body? You don't? Why don't you pull it off? Pull off your skin.
There's 5 locations which you can freely explore, obviously including Radiator Springs, which they've just reused from the previous Cars games because this is literally in the same engine as well as the first and second Cars games. Okay, so now let's talk about the bad. My god, there are some sections in this game that are just so boring. The main story mostly has you playing as Lightning McQueen, but there's a couple of segments where you have to play as Mater and 1 or 2 where you have to play as Guido. Now, the Mater sections are boring, and some of them actually feature some irritating quick time events and other little mini games that just take away from the pace of the game. But the Guido sections are like little kart racing parts, and my god, if the physics engine actually worked, they wouldn't be quite as frustrating. But the one race I did, I was almost ready to just give up playing the game entirely, just with the amount of bouncing around and glitching you do.
Hey, what's with the passing?
I'm gonna have a panic attack and I'm gonna leave.
As well as this, some of the character designs in this game are just downright lazy. There are a lot of characters within the first Cars film and the Cars tunes that have been out at this point that they could have pulled from, but instead a lot of the characters they put in the races are just carbon copy and pastes. For example, the race that's on screen now, every car in the race is just this plain white car. Now, I'm pretty sure they give an in-universe reason for this because they're all just engineers to do so, but it's just an excuse for laziness, really. Even earlier in the game, all of Chick Hicks' students are all just the same kind of green car, and then some of your students are the same blue cars. And it's just, I don't know, it just seems really boring when you're racing, just going past the same model of a car over and over again. And occasionally they just sprinkle in one character from the Cars films, like Sarge or Fillmore, into the race, and you're like, oh, that's cool. Still 100 other cars that all look the same though. Eventually, the game culminates in a showdown between you and Chick Hicks and some of his students for the Race-O-Rama trophy. It's almost as dramatic as the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Although I must say, this race was very easy, so not really that dramatic. And then that's just kind of it. There's a cutscene, and then the game's done. Obviously there's a bunch of mini-games and other Guido karts and Mater events that you can do and monster truck things that you don't have to do in the main game to unlock some more customizables, but by the time I'd reached this point, I was so put off from doing any of the additional content from how stupid the physics were that I just didn't bother. I reached this showdown and called it a day. Okay, so what were the reviews like for this game? Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, based off of what you've seen and what I've said, they weren't the best ever. The PS3 version, which is the version you're seeing here, had the highest score at 61 out of 100, which is just very average. The Xbox 360 version actually had the lowest at 54, with the Wii version at 58. Now, I've played the PS3 and Wii versions of this game, and I can say without a doubt that the Wii version is infinitely worse than the PS3 version. It should not be a 3-point difference between the two. The Wii version should be sat at like 40 or something because it's just slow, laggy, uncontrollable. It's just rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. Because it's the same game on a console that was just not powerful enough to play it. Reviews stated the bizarre physics engine, the lack of innovation, and boring character design to be a lot of the problems with this game. Now, these obviously all do admit that this is a kids game at the end of the day, so it's not designed to be played really by adults, but I'm still going to give my opinion nonetheless. Well, that takes us to the end of our look at Cars Race-O-Rama. Now, I do appreciate what they were trying to do with this game with the customization and the variety of races, but it just falls so flat. A lot of the game just feels very lazy and rushed through, and it really could have done with some extra time baking in the oven, I think. There is some fun to be had with this game if you are either a child or a fan of the Cars franchise, but if you are either of those, I would probably just play the first Cars game instead, or any other better reviewed racing game really. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe and tap the bell for notifications, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.
It nearly killed me, but the work is done. It always will be.